back, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good, Nandini. So the episodes are helping you in your own life.
Yeah, a bit, especially regarding work, life balance. That part is really
Lovely.
necessary. And
Lovely.
personally, I have been sharing with my friends and colleagues who have been working and who really need some talk on to hear and learn about stuffs, to know
Lovely.
about stuff.
Lovely.
So,
Okay, so what are you going to pick my brain about today?
yeah, today I would like to ask, or rather, I would like to discuss on something like ADHD. Like, is it a normal disturbance or is it something uh, specific? Like, when do we say a person has ADHD? When do we say?
Okay. So should we first define what ADHD is?
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah.
Right? Because people might
Yeah.
not know.
Yes.
It sounds like a scary thing. So
Yeah.
ADHD is attention deficit hyperactive disorder.
Yeah.
Um, when is it ADHD versus when is it normal? Um, so, Nandini, we as mental health professionals follow what we call the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. Okay. And that the DSM is where all these disorders are listed, right? And according to the DSM, it is a disorder if it affects your social and occupational functioning, any disorder, right? So if I am having a difficult time focusing because I've just had a death in the family and now, I'm grieving. So I have a little brain fog, or I have I'm not able to pay attention to too many things because I'm in the grieving process. Then that is not ADHD, right? Because that is for a limited amount of time and then I'm going to get back to being myself. So it has to be persistent. For somebody to be diagnosed with ADHD, we have to see the symptoms before they are 12 years of age, right? So it can't be something that as an adult, now I may realize as an adult, but the symptoms have to be present before I was 12 years old.
Oh,
Even if the
really?
symptoms are not diagnosed, right? Because again, culturally or for whatever reason, I may decide that, I as a parent may decide I don't want to take my kid to get assessed or to get diagnosed. So the diagnosis doesn't need to be there. The symptoms need to be there, and they really do have to cause impairment, right? Like your inability to perform, and that inability to perform has to be across various settings. So it can't be that, Arey, but I'm doing so well at school. Only at home I have a problem. Okay, but then maybe there's something at home. It's not ADHD. So it really has to cross multiple settings. That makes sense?
Yes, that does make sense.
Okay.
So,
So those are the things that set apart a normal person who's not able to pay attention or who procrastinate. We can get into more of the symptoms,
okay.
and how they affect your life.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah, but that has to be there again across various settings. It has to be there, before 12 years of age, and it has to be there, like it has to cause some sort of impairment.
Okay. Like, since you said that it's about a certain age, right? Suppose, like, what are the symptoms as a kid, and what are the symptoms as suppose a child grows up, say 15 years of age, crossed 12 years back, and it's 15, 16 years of age, and at that age he or she is diagnosed. So, what are the symptoms? Like, why will a person say that at the age of 16 he or she has ADHD? What are the symptoms as a kid and as an adult?
Yeah.
What are the
So
differences?
remember, a
How does
16-year-old is still not an adult. We just have because if we don't see it by the age of 12, it's not like after 12 all of a sudden you're going to get these symptoms. Okay, so
uh-huh.
our distinction, that there is that age, because by that time you should have seen these symptoms. Now first let's talk about what these symptoms are, right? And
Yeah.
then we can get into how it's different between a child and adult. Okay, so the three hallmark characteristics of ADHD are: one, inattention; So the inability to pay attention. Second, hyperactivity, right? So the kid who's bouncing off the walls. Arey ye bacha बैठता ही नहीं. You know, like all the time, right? So very, very restless, okay? And the third, and in my view, probably one of the most challenging symptoms is impulsivity. What is impulsivity?
What do you?
Yeah. So I am not able to wait for my turn. So I am
Okay.
blurting out answers. Now, how does it show up in, okay, so in a child, it will show up like in school. I am doing things without thinking of the consequences, right? Like I'm acting impulsively. Now, again, in that, it may be that, when you form a line, कि line से करना है, no, that kid is not going to do that because they're impulsive, right? So they'll cut the line. When the teacher says, okay, raise your hands when you have to answer, okay, that does not happen. I'm just going to blurt out the answer anyways. And then now why it's challenging is because it can come across as someone being disrespectful. Like the child is not listening to me. He's not being obedient. No, that is a characteristic of ADHD, right? So these are the three hallmark characteristics of ADHD: inattention, hyperactivity, and impulsivity. Now, how does it show up in a child? Some of what I've told you, the restlessness, too much activity, that like the child cannot sit still, the child blurts out answers, talks excessively, like just keeps talking. Okay. Does not stop for to listen to
Listening.
the other person, right? There's no ability to do that. There is not an ability to pay attention. Okay. So let me explain this to you. You and me, we are having this conversation, right?
Yeah.
Now, there are other noises in your environment.
Yeah.
Maybe the fan is blowing. I can see your hair blowing a little bit. So I'm thinking maybe there's an AC or a fan over there. Or maybe somebody else is walking in, walking out, right? So those stimulus are there in your environment. You're able to block that out to have this conversation with me. A
Yeah.
person with ADHD cannot do that.
Oh,
They pay attention
really?
to everything.
That way? Oh my
Yes. So
God.
somebody walks in, they have to pay attention to that. Or the leaves, in my case, oh, the leaves are blowing now. All of a sudden, I'm paying attention to that. Then somebody, if the doorbell rings, okay, but now to pay attention to that. I am not able to block that stimuli to pay attention to this one thing and to be able to focus. They also get bored very fast. Like, for
Okay.
something to maintain their attention is also a big deal because they just get bored. And then you'll see them daydreaming. They'll go into their own little world because they need some excitement, right?
So the
So
brain is craving for excitement
it
continuously.
is because it's a dopamine related disorder. What is dopamine? Dopamine is one of those happy hormones, but excitement hormones that we have, right? So the brain is craving that. So, if I get bored too fast, then okay, I've zoned out. But then what you're
Okay.
saying, so in class, that kid is the kid who's like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, the teacher will call in the child and he's like, I don't know. I wasn't there. In my mind, I was somewhere else, right?
So
So
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
how it shows up in children. In
And adult.
adults, what it shows up as is poor time management. Listen, Nandini, I think it's very important to diagnose ADHD because I really do believe that it affects when you don't diagnose it and then now you're an adult, it really starts affecting you in multiple arenas of your life, right? So it affects your relationships because think about it. If I'm married to someone who has ADHD, okay, and he doesn't have the patience or the ability to not be impulsive. So every time I start talking, he'll say something, and then I'm looking at him saying that you never listen to me. You're being
Uh-huh.
disrespectful. You don't
True.
validate me. You don't. So it causes a conflict over there, right? Because remember
Where
that
he or
impulsive,
she is not at fault.
correct. But for the other person, if I don't understand, I'm like, okay, you know what? You really like,
True.
you're being disrespectful. You're being mean to me. You're not listening, right? So that impulsive part, because as we grow older, that hyperactive part actually reduces. You don't see too many adults bouncing off walls, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, we calm down a little bit on that hyperactive part, but the inattention and the impulsivity remains. And that causes a lot of harm. So, um, they are impulsive, they have very disorganized, careless, time management nahi hai. Often, the adults who I work with, if they know that they have to go to a meeting, or they have to go somewhere, in their head, yeah, I can do in 20 minutes. No, let's be realistic. You actually can't. So that even the concept of how much time something needs, they're not able to budget or manage their time effectively. Poor planning. They're not able to plan, okay, now, I have to do this, then this. Okay, then no, that's too much. And now for me to plan, okay, I have to do it, I can't do that. So they really find it hard to plan for their future, or anything that needs to be done for the house, or for themselves, or for work. The other really disturbing part is mood swings.
Okay.
Their mood swings are, so ADHD often, and especially in adults, we see, surprisingly, most adults who come into therapy, who have ADHD, actually come in for depression or anxiety, because they don't know they have ADHD, right? So there's a strong correlation between ADHD and mood disorders like depression, anxiety. So because they have a fluctuation of their moods, but the root cause is ADHD. So if we treat the ADHD, then that depression and anxiety does not, it's not a problem anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So if one is treated, other two is taken care of.
it is taken care of. So the mood swings are taken care of. They can get very irritable, because in their head, if they are being like, it's like, okay, but I have to tell you right now what I'm thinking, because otherwise I'll forget. Oh, okay, hold on, you're not the queen. Other people may have
Okay.
things to say too, but for them, they almost get irritated because, but why aren't you understanding? You see? So, but unfortunately, again, if they're not diagnosed, how can anybody understand? And I think one of the other traits that uh, is quite difficult to deal with is procrastination. And that is
Okay.
then children, and that's then adults. Something that they feel, oh my, this is going to tax my brain, forget it. Karna hi nahi hai. Then,
Then they
oh,
will.
I'll do it tomorrow. Then tomorrow will come, oh, I'll do it tomorrow.
That tomorrow never comes.
Yes, that tomorrow never comes, because
Yeah.
they keep procrastinating, right? So now, if you are a child, that can affect you, because, that can affect you in school. If you're an adult, that can affect you, because if you've got a family, and, the family is counting on you, or your work, and your work is counting on you to do certain things, you can't keep procrastinating, because that can really hurt you. So this is how it shows up in children and adults.
So when it is related to children, so how does like school like react to a child having ADHD? Like, do they react well, or what is their
No,
reaction?
no. For
And
them,
how
it's no. For
and
them,
how
it's
is the
for them. This
society?
child is a nuisance.
Ah,
You see, for a teacher, one ADHD child is equal to 10 other children.
oh my God. Okay.
So for if the teacher does not know what's going on, because there are things and coping mechanisms that can be used, but the problem is that, but if you don't know, how are you going to do that?
The teacher is not well versed with how to handle a ADHD.
Correct. Correct. So, and think about it, right? If we were in a classroom, and I am a teacher now, I've got 30 children over there, and one is bouncing off the walls, that
Yeah.
child is a nuisance for me, because
Yes.
because of that child, I'm not able to teach the 29 others who are also looking at me for support.
Like, have you, since we are talking on this, have you ever come across a kid or an adult suffering from ADHD, and what was their behavior? Like, how did they cope up? Like, suppose a adult, say a 25-year-old person has come up to you with ADHD. So what are the consequences? What kind of situations they face in life and how they battle it,
Yeah.
how they get cured by you, something if you can share
You
with us.
can't cure it. I wish I could cure it. The reality, um, and in my opinion, the reality of the matter is most mental health disorders are not curable.
It
They are
is just
manageable.
handle.
Yes,
Okay.
manage. You manage it. You can't
You might.
cure it, right? So remember, like diabetes,
Okay.
you have to take your insulin, whatever, whether it's a injection or pill or whatever, but you have to take your medicine, right? So it's like that. Most mental health disorders are not curable. They are manageable, and so we work with people to manage. All right, real life
Sometimes
examples. Yeah, go ahead.
sometimes I think a very normal person also must be having some percentage of some disorder which will not erupt in them because the other, I mean, they are very minor, but I think the normal person also, like, suppose can have, ADHD or some
Yes,
disorder.
correct. So there is no such thing as normal, in
Okay.
my view. It's
Okay.
just where we are in the spectrum. And I'll tell you why. Because, more and more, again, one of the most respected people in my field, Dr. Gabor Mate, I really respect him. And recently, I was reading a book, and I really relate to that, where he says, um, we are like, no, there's no one person that does not have some sort of trauma in their life. It's just where we are in that spectrum. Some
Okay.
people have less, some people have a lot, but everybody. Now, if because when we talk about, and at some point we'll do an episode on trauma, but when we talk about the small t traumas, which is like bullying or a parent neglecting, or and not because a parent wants to
Getting blamed
neglect,
continuously for
getting
anything.
blamed, yes, being put down, who has not experienced that, right? So,
Yes.
and those are the small t trauma. So find me a person who does not have trauma, and those things also affect us and affect our mental
Yes.
health, right?
Yes.
So that's why I'm saying that there is no normal. We are
Okay.
all normal, and we all have things in our lives that we
I
deal
get
with,
you.
right? Okay,
Amazing.
but let's give you real life examples. So I'm thinking about this one client of mine. He is I believe in his late 30s, okay? And he really had as soon as we used to do a telehealth, because it started during COVID, my sessions with him, and he really found it difficult to stop talking, like like even in our therapy sessions. um I proposed that he get an assessment for ADHD, but he was vehemently against it, because like he did not want a diagnosis, and then diagnosis means then, oh, now I'll have to get medicated. Ye nahi karna hai, But I think in his case, what was affected the most, because he was able to maintain a job and everything, but really what was affected the most was his relationship with his wife, because he found it extremely difficult to regulate his emotions. So he was constantly like putting down his wife, yelling at his wife, because he would get angry, right? So it was important for him ultimately, when I was able to convince him to get that diagnosis, not for any other reason, because again we know that it can't be treated, but for him to understand that you can manage your emotional dysregulation, through psychopharmacology, which is taking medicine, and through some mindfulness techniques and everything. But you continuing on this path is surely going to lead to divorce,
Mm.
because your wife will get fed up, right? So that was his challenge, and his children, his relationship with his children. um Another client in his 40s, and came to me because of depression, anxiety, okay? And not like not able to cope with that depression, anxiety, and I actually first thought maybe that is what is going on, right? Till after a few sessions, and when I mean few, I mean a few months. Because you
Okay.
see, when a client presents with anxiety and depression, then that's what you're focusing on, right? Because that's
Mhm.
what presenting. there was something that I, and he was on meds, by the way, okay? But there was something I felt was missing. So I actually recommended, I said, you know what? I believe that you have ADHD, because I knew that his procrastination, like constantly, really, really smart guy, but not able to perform, would keep procrastinating, business owner, right? So now he has additional responsibility, because here he is being a business owner and just not being able to function. I knew that there was a missing piece. So we did an ADHD assessment, found out that he has ADHD, stopped taking the antidepressants, shifted with the psychiatrist to ADHD meds, and it was a game changer. His life changed like overnight, because he was now able to perform. He was able to do his work, whatever he needed to accomplish. The procrastination ended. He was, and I think that was what was creating the depression, because he knew that he was smart. So he didn't know why his business was not doing well, given that he's smart. There was a disconnect, which then in his case, he was getting depressed, or he was getting anxious, that I'm a failure, I'm a failure, I'm a failure. No, there's something
No,
going
yeah.
on here that we have to fix. So those are two, that were, powerful, that I've dealt with. But listen, there are a lot of people with ADHD. So I have dealt with many more. But these are the two that immediately came to my focus.
What are the coping mechanism for a normal, not a normal, I would say, some coping mechanism with or without meditation for ADHD?
Right.
Something.
Somebody who does not have access to a therapist.
Yes, definitely.
Okay. Now, the ideal would be to get, because ADHD is one of those things that I've really seen a lot of difference with, and I am not a proponent of medication, but I have actually seen a huge difference in people who take meds. So my first suggestion would be, if you actually can get to a psychiatrist, get assessed, that would be great. However, the challenge becomes when, if we don't have an assessment, we don't know what parts are struggling. So for instance, in I do ADHD assessments, right? So in a comprehensive ADHD assessment, you assess for behavior, you assess for executive functioning, you assess for sensory processing, you assess for social, emotional, and personality. So there's so many elements that we have to find out. Okay, what exactly is like the problem in this person? So we give them coping skills based on what it is that they're struggling with. So for
That means
instance, if
assessment is very important.
right. That at least that assessment is important, because if I don't know, because you see, even your executive functioning, there's so many different elements, right? Like, okay, do you have a problem with time management? Do you have a problem with planning? Do you have a problem with starting tasks? Do you have a problem with actually finishing tasks, right? Like, how, if I don't know, it's very hard to give a generic sort of prescription ki ye jaake karo and this will help you. However, if somebody has a problem with some of the strategies are color code things, put
Okay.
things on your phone as a reminders, like fill your phone with reminders, and alarms. If make those to-do lists, because you are not going to remember. You and me may be able to put things in our brain, and by till tomorrow we will remember. For an ADHD, it's not going to happen. So you better have a running to-do list. You better make a reminder for yourself to check that to-do list, so that you know that you
Okay.
have to check it, right? um, you have to it's a good idea to divide your day into blocks. Like, suppose your
Okay.
work day, okay, if I have to do research about something, I'm going to give myself 30 minutes, no more than that, because sometimes I can get hyper focused on something, because that's the other problem with ADHD, that I am, like, if I'm playing a game, I'll get so focused, 5 hours have passed and I have no clue. Or I'm researching something that I find exciting, and 3 hours have gone and I've not been able to do it. So it's very important to set those time blocks with those alarms that, okay, 30 minutes, that's it. Whether I have finished or not, I have to move on to the next task, right? So it really does depend, if it's a social emotional, like, how I told you about my client who has emotional dysregulation, we give, I love the ice cube technique, which I tell all my clients, which is, when you feel yourself getting dysregulated, either take a bucket of ice cold water, put your head in, just dunk your head in, or take an ice cube and put it in your mouth or hold it in your hand, because it shocks your system out of that intense
Mhm.
emotion that you're feeling, right? So, but again, it's not one suggestion fits all, right? Because it depends on what area is affected, and thus we give suggestions.
I get you. So, how does an ADHD assessment look like? Like, what are the,
Steps.
what are the steps? How does it look like? Like,
Okay.
what kind of
Okay.
questions?
Oh my, no. That okay, so it's long.
To a
So
very small extent.
so the way we the way our office or I do ADHD assessment, the first will be an intake, right? Because remember, I told you that I have to get back to the developmental history of the person. So
Yeah.
if you're coming to me when you are 17, 18, but I need to know as a child, how were you, right? So that
What happened?
what happened, right? Like, did you meet, because I need to make sure that those symptoms were present as a child. So that's the first session where we do the intake. We like to have either the partner or parents, somebody who will collaborate with you in that. Then we actually do the assessments. What are those assessments? We assess for behavior again, because remember that hyperactive restlessness, inability to pay attention and all of that, those are behaviors, so we assess for that. We assess for the executive functioning, like I said, the planning. Okay, how good are you at starting a task? How good are you at completing a task? How anxious, on a scale of anxiety. But those, it's not like you rate yourself on a scale of anxiety. We ask questions. So not we, the assessment asks questions that ultimately result in us getting the answers for that. We do other assessments for the social emotional. So I will do a depression inventory, I'll do an anxiety inventory, I'll assess for personality, because sometimes if somebody has a personality disorder, that may look like ADHD, so I want to rule out a personality disorder, so I'll do a
So
personality
assessment is the
assessment.
very first step.
Absolutely. We don't know. Look, if you go to a doctor and say, these are my symptoms, the first thing they'll say, okay, do a blood test, do an
Yes.
X-ray, right?
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
is our blood test and X-ray. Till we
Okay,
don't
I
do
get
the right, till we don't do that, we don't know what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Acha, is it even like high blood pressure, low blood, is it that? Is it your cholesterol levels are high, or is it okay you have cancer? We don't know.
Mhm.
We have to do those preliminary assessments to determine what the challenges are.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Do you have something more to say on ADHD so that we, as public should know, we as listeners should know, and we should take a step to assess it and heal it rather?
Yeah, yeah. The I think the most important takeaway from this is that it is manageable if you
Okay.
actually get assessed, and if you are able to get on the right meds, or you're able to get the right coping mechanisms. This is a very manageable thing. This is a very
Love.
widespread thing. So a lot of people actually have it, but it's a very manageable thing, and there is no reason, because if it's not done, the repercussions of that are
Consequence.
too much. Because you as a person, because your self-esteem, how you think about yourself, then your relationships, your work, everything struggles. It's not worth it. It's not worth it when we have mechanisms that can help you cope. So
Oh, love.
if you suspect that you have something to that effect, go get assessed. You can get the help rather than spending your whole life thinking that you're a failure, failing in your work, failing in your relationships, failing at school. It doesn't need to be that way.
Yes. Always help. Getting help is a very highly smarter move rather than just sitting and lamenting on what's happening.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
thank you so much for enlightening us with so much of knowledge on ADHD. See you again and have a very good day.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.